All right, I'm going live. I'm live. Hey, so I'm figuring this out. And again, I want somebody to help me with something. So, real quick, I'm going to pull this down some because it's showing too much at the end of the day. So, if there's anybody out there who is like an expert with setup and all the other kind of stuff, let me know. I really want to be in a place where I am more, I guess, just comfortable with YouTube, the mic, the camera, all the other kind of stuff. And I'm really, really looking for some help. So if anybody out there does that, let me know, right? So I'm moving some stuff around. We're moving some stuff around, and I am going to be moving my setup. Actually, I'll be moving my setup to the other side of my office. So stay tuned for that. For the next video, I think that's where we're going to be. So I changed my whole concept for today because it hurts. Like it really hurts. I want you to know that it hurts, right? It hurts. And when it hurts, we've got to just acknowledge that it hurts. And I wanted to do that. So I had a conversation and it was really hurtful. Someone, conversation with someone that's really close to me. And maybe I'll reveal a little bit more about it at another date. But it's tender right now. It's real tender. But it reminded me of how I felt the first time and the second time when I was laid off. And I talk real lightly about this, but this is really a serious conversation because I want to dig deeper. I'm going to pull back some layers in this onion. I was laid off not once, but twice in less than 2 years. And that first time, I don't think I expected it at all. I wasn't shocked. I didn't like break down, but it was hurtful because I did not get to say goodbye to my team. I did not get to wish or say goodbye to people that I work with for over 8 years. And I did not even get to pack up my own stuff. I only got to take my personal items, my keys to my car, my purse. Really, that was it. And I have been in that position before, helping people gather their things and exit the facility, the building. Never did I think I'd be in that place. I remember recently seeing in the news from last year, depending on when you're watching this, when all of the mass rifts and layoffs were happening. It was on the news in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area. That's DMV for short. And people knew it was significant enough that they clapped people out to give them dignity leaving the organization that they had trusted for their careers, their lives, their livelihood. People who, lifetime civil servants looking to make a difference and an impact, knowing full well that they could do that somewhere else and make a lot more money. Typically, that's the case. But just so committed to the vision and the mission. And so I felt that day, right? That fateful day that I was laid off. I sat in my car on that day and like really just like gathered my faculties, right? Now, I'll be honest with you, I'm a woman of faith. I think I've already shared with you, I'm a seminary graduate, licensed or ordained Baptist minister. And so wasn't the first pain or hurt I ever felt, but it really dug deep into me. But I knew, I'm going to be honest with you, I knew I was going to be okay. And that's what made it all right. And I gathered myself, got in my car, and drove off and went home. I don't even remember that first time exactly what I did, but I do know that it hit me really, really hard. And a few months later, so this was probably September, October, maybe something like that. And then in that January, I was started doing some onboarding and other things for internship at the VA as a chaplain for me to finish at the time my seminary degree. I didn't know that I was going to need to be there full time. I didn't know that when I was laid off in September, in the September, beginning of October. And I just kind of like leaned into it, got the paperwork. I hired an attorney and we looked at the paperwork. I will be honest with you. I say this jokingly, but real serious. Every day at work, pretty much every other day, a few times a week, I played an attorney, right? And I got used to that pace. And it so happened that I went with an attorney. This was great. It was fine. It worked out in the end because he trusted me. And I told him what to say, what to do, how to respond. And I ended up getting a full year of severance pay with benefits, right? With benefits, which was unheard of. And no one that was riffed or laid off got that except me. And so I still marvel at that happened. So let's fast forward from then to January when I realized that I would not be able to go to work every day and complete the degree path that I had chosen. I would have had to change, excuse me, I would have had to change my desired degree. But God, right? But God had other plans in store for me that I didn't even know about. So God pulled me out of the workplace, but allowed me to keep my paycheck. And I got paid not to go to work at the company, but I got paid to volunteer to complete my degree at the VA hospital as a chaplain. But God. So I say that to tell you that despite all that happened, it still ended up well. Today, we're going to talk about the Sarah model, and that is shock, anger, resistance, acceptance, hope. It is actually a grief model. But I will tell you that the grief that we feel that normally is applied to when someone dies is also applied to the loss related to your job, the loss related to a career, a life that you thought you were going to have. It's all related. It's all related, right? And so I wrote an article and I'm looking at it. You already know. I'm not going to go with the 3 point rule. I will have and make 3 points and be really clear about it because that's critically important to me. I do not want to talk fluffy, but this is a deep message because today, right, I'm changing my whole go live because it hurts, right? It really hurts. And I was reminded of the hurt I felt the first time and the pain and distress I felt the second time that I was laid off. But I actually wrote this article, Building Resilience in Changing Times, the Sarah model. And I posted it on January 28th of 2025. And I've linked it below in the description, and it will also be pinned in the first comment. So if you're watching, well, I'm going to pin it in the first comment as well, that you can see it. And so, in building resilience, when we talk about the Sarah model, again, shock, anger, resistance, acceptance, hope. So, shock is our initial reaction to unexpected news, leaving you stunned and oftentimes disoriented. That's what happens. That's how I felt when I got laid off. I didn't know it was coming, I didn't expect it, right? But even in that, I still felt I could feel like that I was going to go through the process: shock, anger, resistance, acceptance, and hope. And I could see hope written on the wall, and it was pulling me forward. And I wanted to go through the steps so I could get to hope, because I knew hope was where I needed to be. And so, for you out there now who are underemployed, who are fearful that you may be riffed, your position may be eliminated, or fearful because you have been on administrative leave in federal service and there is no expected date or actions to return you to work. It's just filled every single day with uncertainty. Maybe you took an early retirement. Maybe you took the drip, right? The deferred actions. And maybe you're watching the news even now and you're seeing that there is litigation that is going through the court system that could change the outcome that you now face. I want you to know this: go through those steps at your pace, but keep looking towards hope, because hope is what's going to draw you forward. It's going to help you move your career forward. It's going to get you out of the rut. It's going to get you out of being stuck where you are, not being able to move forward. And so I'm reminded in the liturgical calendar is where we are biblically. So for those of you who follow that, Resurrection Sunday was a couple Sundays ago. And last week, Jesus would have been on the road. He would have come back to the disciples um, to let them know that he had rose again. But the week before that, he was crucified. And he was crucified, we all know, on a Friday. And he stayed in his grave all night Friday. And then we'll get back to that. But we get from shock to anger, right? We get from shock to anger. And then we go from anger to resilience. And then we go from resilience to acceptance and then hope. So the Sarah model actually matters for career resilience. I'm going to be actually talking about this early in May for an audience in one of the federal agencies that I get to the privilege of supporting, because we normalize our emotions. It reminds us that your feelings are valid and part of a universal process. That's right. The universal process is you get to process how you're feeling before you actually get to hope. But you must process your feelings. You can't stay in shock, anger, resistance. You must move towards acceptance and ultimately land in hope, because this is the place where you release the anger out of your hand that you're holding on to, and you're open to what is next. So if I am holding something in my hand, I cannot receive what God has in store for me. I've got to let it go. And so I want you to move to acceptance so that hope is where you can be filled again. right? And then the second thing is it promotes self awareness. You get to know where you are in the model. It helps you to take deliberate action to move forward because you know what the steps are that are going to get you back to hope, which is going to get you back in position to receive your blessing. But the blessing that is in store for you can't be received as long as you're in shock, anger, resistance. And you're just going back and forth like a pop like a hockey pop, right? So like air hockey and you just going back and forth, you can't do that because you're not moving anywhere. Nothing is happening. And then it guides you when you're willing and open to go through the process. It guides you to adaption by moving through resistance to hope, past resistance to acceptance, and then hope. You open yourself up to new possibilities and opportunities. But if you're holding on to shock, anger, resistance, like real tight, and you're switching it from hand to hand, and you're focusing on that, you will never focus on the blessing that is waiting for you. And then along the way, you're going to reduce your fear of change because change happens. In fact, change is the only norm, the only consistent thing that we have, right? Other than God's love for us and his unchanging love for us is change, period, right? But it reduces our fears when we're willing to go through shock, anger, resistance to get to acceptance and ultimately land on hope. And then that hope and that acceptance, it fosters growth for us because we get deposited new things into our hands, multiple things, because we are open. And I don't want you to be closed off to the blessings that are stored up with your name on it. You've got to let go as you go through shock, anger, resistance, and move towards acceptance in order to accept what's waiting for you. And so let's quickly talk about this. The 5 ways to build resilience, right? Is acknowledging your feelings. You've got to acknowledge like where you are. That's what I did. I acknowledged where I was and I was open. Oh man, I didn't want to do it, but I pushed myself through and I allowed myself to feel what I was feeling in the shock and the anger and the resistance. But I could see the hope pulling me forward. And that's why I could look back now and say this very plainly to you is that God allowed that to happen in my life so that I could be available to fulfill his plan and my purpose because staying at work wasn't going to do it. But I didn't lose anything. I gained so much more. And in fact, after that, we got to go on an adventure, right? And more doors opened up. And then, I'll save the second part of that story when we moved to Maryland and I was laid off the second time. I'll go into more detail about that in our next video. Um, I do these videos every Friday. And I know today, man, the last 3 days, I've had 3 videos just simply because I really wanted to get this message out. So before we go into the full list of the 5 ways to build resilience. And I want to share something with you as well. I'm going to drop this whole post inside of my Career Forward group, which you're invited to on school. And the link is in the description below. And also, it'll be linked in the chat. I want to invite you into the community. But if you want the whole list with the scriptures that go with it, There's no hook to it. Just join me there, and there'll be a pinned post with this thumbnail from this video today, when it hurts, with all the details so you'll have them. But I want you to connect with me and other like minded professionals that are going to help you to get over your hurts when it really hurts, and to move from shock to anger to resistance to acceptance and land in hope, where you can fulfill God's plan for your life and your purpose. So, the thing and the reason why I'm going even live today and I committed to it, even though I am pivoting, is because yesterday, this weekend, is my business anniversary. And I am doing something amazing. And I already talked about it. My accountability partners could not believe it. This offer is not going away. Every couple of days, every 2 days, every 48 hours, it's going to go up by $100. And so until it lands on the full investment. And so right now, I can't even verbalize the cost. You must click on the link. But it's the anniversary VIP access pass. I'm here to support you through your journey as long as you need it. But after tonight at midnight, the price goes up by $100. And then Monday at midnight, it goes up another $100. And then Wednesday at midnight, another $100. And then another $100 on Wednesday. And then on Saturday next week. And I think we may have landed where we're going to be. But you've got 4 hours tonight. In 5 minutes and 8 seconds, I'm looking at the clock. And I want you to know this. It's two amazing things. It's a premium offer of the Career Forward Inner Circle, which includes a weekly live coaching and strategy session. So if you've gotten anything out of these 3 videos and you want to work with someone who's been where you are, then you need to get in the room. There are career workshops and execution tools. There's workbooks, and all the calls are recorded and you have access. In addition to that, you'll be a VIP in our community, which will give you access to the leadership circle, which means that you'll also have access to quarterly live in person or live on Zoom, networking, mock interviews, and also, I've never done this before, but a book club. You'll also get VIP accountability support and a string on school, so that if you have real issues and challenges, you can drop them into the private VIP community. And I will be chiming in on a daily basis to help really to unpack what is happening and to answer your big questions. And every month, and very soon we'll begin to have guests that are going to come and teach and unpack in the group as well. And then finally, there's a bonus, right? And so this bonus that's included is a ticket to the interview accelerator. Because what I know to be true is interviews are something that you absolutely must master the art of landing interviews, because without interviews, you can't get hired, right? And so in 3 days, I'm going to be doing live coaching. It's a challenge and it's a doing workshop. You're going to be doing the work with me together in the session. And so this isn't theory. This is getting more interviews. It's getting clear positioning. It is a stronger offer for yourself. It is negotiation skills. It is so that you will be more confident in carrying out what you need to take care of to move from shock, anger, resistance, straight into hope. And on the page, you'll see what clients are saying about us. You'll see if this is for you or not. Some questions answered. I always like to say this. Um, if you do the work and you show up, um, you'll get the results, period. That's just it, right? Trust the process, show up, do the work, you'll get the results. There's no more of a guarantee than I can give to that. There is no one that I have ever worked with who showed up, trusted the process, did the work, and did not get the results. This works. Even this year, I we have had clients that have landed positions. So I love to see you in there. I love to see you in this, but definitely take advantage of the community. And so we move from there, but let's talk about and move towards hope. So, hope is really seeing opportunities within the change and building a positive outlook. It is seeing an opportunity and building a positive outlook. It is a bridge from shock to hope, moving past it hurts and I don't understand. Even when we can't see all of the steps ahead of us, we are drawn towards hope because hope is the way that allows us to open up to the plan and the promise God has in store for us. So, what I want you to know is this: there is a community of positive professionals who are waiting with open arms to accept you, to help you, to encourage you, and to lift you towards where you want to go and grow in your career and in your life. And I want you to make a decision tonight that's going to change everything because I know it hurts. I know it hurts. I know you're shocked. I know you're angry. I know you want to resist and you want to wait and see what the court system is going to say. I want you to do me a favor today. I want you to turn the TV off. And I want you to paint a picture of what it would look like if you had hope in your job search, in your career transition, in getting promoted, in advancing, and in earning more money, and finally landing in that dream and getting all that is due you. What would that feel like? Amazing, right? Amazing. And so, as we close out on this Saturday, you've got a few more hours. That's right, a few more hours to take advantage. And then the offer will be there and it is worth it. It is worth m- multi thousands of dollars, right? But I did not want there to be any barriers to you getting what you need to be successful and getting hope, right? At the end of the day. And so it's the reason why I'm doing this. I know it sounds crazy and it feels crazy, but in the end, you and we all win. And I want you to win, right? I want you to win. I want you to win. And I know you can win. And so I just want to quickly review my notes and make sure I haven't missed any points. Again, you don't need more applications. You need a better strategy. You need a better community. And you need to be in a place where you can fulfill your purpose and God's plan for your life. So if you're looking for a full year of coaching, strategy, and live support and execution guidance, step by step to help you get from here to there, this is where hope lives. And I like to see you take advantage of the anniversary VIP access pass or just connect with me wherever I am on school, on LinkedIn, or any other place. But also do me this big favor. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and hit the bell above so that you can know when videos drop every Friday. I'm calling Friday Freedom Friday. And then these go lives that I'm doing. And so thank you for tuning in. Share this with a friend. Comment below, ready, if you're ready, right, to move forward. Because I'm ready for you. I'm praying for you even now. So take care. I'll see you next time. Bye for now.